Hey friends! So in this video, I'm going to talk about how alcohol affects your sleep, the risks, and what you can do about it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Leanne Richardson and I am an addictions advocate and founder of Sober City. I've been on YouTube for many years talking about alcohol recovery and mental health, and me myself am just over 9 years sober. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to sharing my experience and talking about what it was like and what recovery is like for me. And I also talk to hundreds of people, either online or here in person in my city, about alcohol recovery. So I usually bring in lots of different perspectives when I do these videos. So to begin, without you having any knowledge of like how brain stuff works around sleep and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, we can all agree that we know that alcohol makes it so that we fall asleep a lot faster. And I know the majority of it, I used to think that alcohol made me sleep like a log. Alcohol made me sleep really, really deeply. So I thought that alcohol was helping me sleep. But what it actually does is, yes, it does help you get to sleep a lot quicker, but throughout the night, it actually disrupts what is called your sleep architecture, which is the phases of sleep that you go through throughout the night. I'll talk about that later on in this video. There's also some evidence that alcohol disrupts the release of melatonin in your brain. And melatonin is that hormone that is released to tell your brain that it's ready to go to sleep. Also, alcohol is a diuretic. So that means it encourages your body to lose excess fluid, which is pee and sweat, generally speaking. So throughout the night, you're becoming more and more dehydrated, which is going to make you feel even worse in the morning with a hangover. Also, alcohol will increase your snoring. So that's fun for a one-night stand. It's a muscle relaxant. So it's going to relax all the muscles around here, which causes your throat to become super relaxed and your tongue to fall back to the back of your throat. You're going to be snoring like crazy. And for people who already have sleep apnea, alcohol is going to make it worse. Drinking before bed, because it's already messing with your sleep cycles, it can cause you to have more vivid dreams and more nightmares. And some people can actually sleepwalk, or you'll start to show signs of like parasomnia, of just like weird sleep stuff. So those are all the bad things that it can do. So let's talk about what exactly is going on. There was a 2018 study that compared sleep quality among people who drank various amounts of alcohol. The results of that study showed low amounts of alcohol decreased sleep quality by about 9.3%. If someone had a moderate amount of alcohol that night, then their sleep quality decreased by 24%. And if they had high amounts of alcohol, then that meant that their sleep quality was reduced by 39.2%. So let's understand a sleep cycle a little bit better. So one sleep cycle is broken down into 4 stages. Stage 1 is the transition period between being awake and being asleep. So your heartbeat, your breathing, brain activity, eye movements start to slow down and your muscles relax. Stage 2 is the progression towards deeper sleep. So your heartbeat and breathing continue to slow down, body temperature decreases, and your eyes become still. And this is the longest of the 4 stages. Stage 3 is when brain activity, your heartbeat, breathing rate are all at the lowest levels, and your muscles are totally relaxed. This stage is called slow wave sleep or deep sleep. And then the last stage is REM sleep, which begins about 90 minutes after you fall asleep. Eye movements start in this stage, and your breathing rate and heartbeat quicken. This is where dreaming happens, and this stage also plays a role in memory consolidation and is the most restorative sleep stage. Benefits of REM sleep are daytime alertness, improved learning, better long-term memory, and better emotion processing. So each sleep cycle, which is those 4 stages, lasts about 90 to 120 minutes, and they repeat throughout the night about 4 or 5 times in an 8-hour period. In the first 1 to 2 cycles, that slow wave or deep sleep cycle is dominant, and the REM sleep stages are not dominant. They only last maybe 10 minutes. But for later cycles in the night, those roles are reversed. So REM sleep stage becomes dominant, lasting like up to 40 minutes, and that deep sleep cycle can eventually just start to cease throughout the night. So throughout the first half of the night, there's still alcohol coursing through your bloodstream, and you'll sleep deeply and you will not dream. Then as the night progresses, alcohol will slowly become metabolized and it will start to leave your body, which causes your brain to become more active. It's like a rebound arousal in your body and in your brain. So that is where you can start to have more stressful and vivid dreams, but at the same time, you're waking up more, whether you realize it or not, but you're going in and out of sleep cycles. You're really not getting any REM sleep, or if you are, like, it doesn't really last that long, the quality of your sleep really suffers in the last half of that sleep. And of course, this all depends on how much someone drank and their body composition and their tolerance and all that kind of stuff. But I'm mostly talking about people who would drink more than, standard amounts, and even people who live with alcohol use disorders, or people who maybe just binge drink, or who are more on the risky drinking side of things. It all depends on the person, but generally speaking, alcohol does negatively affect our sleep. So some risks to alcohol and sleep. One being that if you're drinking to fall asleep, then your tolerance is going to go up. Then that will mean that eventually you'll have to drink more and more in order to have that same sedative effect of alcohol in order to go to sleep. And if you're drinking in order to go to sleep, then you're way more apt to then have stimulants the next day because you had a shitty sleep. And then if you're using stimulants all day, that could make it harder to go to sleep. So then you're going to drink so that you can go to sleep, which then can bring on insomnia in a lot of people. And if you're not going to have full-blown insomnia from this vicious cycle, you're just going to be in that vicious cycle and feel like shit for longer until you break the cycle. And let's not forget adding drugs into the mix, either that being, a sleep aid prescribed by your doctor, or an over-the-counter remedy, or Valium, or, drinking in order to come down from doing coke. Whenever you bring in other substances to your drinking to help with sleep, that's of course when it's going to be extremely dangerous, or even deadly, of course. I know of people who have died from mixing alcohol and other drugs through the night as they were sleeping, and I'm sure you do too. And I don't want you to be another one of those people. So what can you do? Well, first, obviously I'm going to say quit drinking because that's what I did, and it solved so many freaking problems. But if you're not ready to quit drinking, that is perfectly fine. Take 2 weeks off. See how you feel. You're going to feel a lot better in a lot of ways, but we're talking about sleep in this video. So taking 2 weeks off to see how your sleep will probably improve, but you know what? It could make it worse. So speak to your doctor around this, because I'm not one. I can't advise anything medically, but from what I've heard from other people and what I've read online, 2 weeks for most people is when you're going to start to notice that your sleeping has gotten better. You'll start to notice that you're actually dreaming because you're having more of those REM sleep cycles. And when those 2 weeks are up, you can either keep going, add on another week, or you can, at that point, reevaluate your relationship with alcohol and maybe consider not drinking so close to bedtime, or cutting back on how much you drink, substituting some drinks with non-alcoholic drinks. There's lots of different strategies that people employ. And from the studies that I've read, they say to stop drinking at least 4 hours before bedtime. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, I have 2 other channels that I just created. One is Leanne Lives, where I do vlog styles and I talk about some health stuff that I've been going on, nothing to do with alcohol really. The other is Leanne Makes, where I make art projects and I make little short films and props for music videos or for TV shows. So check out those channels and subscribe to those. Subscribe to this one if you're not already. Of course, click the bell notification button so you can get more content, blah, blah. Do whatever you want. Do what feels right. And thank you for watching. And remember that you can do hard things, you deserve happiness, and you are loved. I don't want that reflection, so I'm just not going to wear glasses and make my notes 400% larger.